You see, you're on fire today.
Sitting here in the dark, I realized I didn't turn the lights on.
The Podgram with Tom and Christie.
It's sad that this is the world that we live in.
Here, let me stop and tie my shoe right in front of you so you can't drive.
The Podgram.
All of a sudden, I hear...
Well, I don't really care.
Join the conversation. 855-PODGRAM.
You bust your ass.
Yeah.
The Podgram with Tom and Christie starts now.
All right. Well, it is the Podgram. Welcome. We are live on Facebook and YouTube and TuneIn, and it's probably going to be one of those mornings where everything just explodes in our faces. But you know what? That's what we live for. It's fun. Christie had some fun yesterday. She'll tell you all about that. And I think we've even maybe got some pictures or whatever. But right now, let's say hello to our good friend, Christie Bush.
Good morning.
Hello. How are you?
I am...
Yeah, me too.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm very good.
All right. Well, that's cool because you went to, you had some fun yesterday.
I did. I went to see Imagine Dragons last night.
That's pretty cool. You're just like such a teenager.
No, I mean, I love their music for one. Okay,
Yeah.
I got to say, I really do love their music. But I think part of what, and Jen was, I went with Jen.
Yeah.
Woo, woo, to my girl squad. And we brought her 13-year-old, well, she's almost 13, her daughter, Megan. And the cool part was that we had lawn seats.
Yeah.
Which I prefer lawn seats to regular seats because you really don't use your seats anyway. I mean, for most of a concert, unless you're going to see like an orchestra or something like that, you usually don't use your seats.
Yeah.
Most of the time you're standing up anyway. And it's not because you want to stand up. It's usually because some idiot somewhere down the line decides they have to stand up. So then everybody behind them has to stand up so that they can see what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got lawn seats and we had really good seats right behind. We were center stage. So we could see down onto the stage. And they had, of course, these big, gigantic Jumbotron screens up. And there were 3 big projection screens that were showing everything that was going on. And we were right in the center of the 3 screens. So we really didn't have a bad view, no matter which way we looked.
Yeah.
And you could see the sunset, and you could see the stage, and you could see everything. It was so beautiful.
Yeah.
It was really, 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 really great. And we had such a good time. I almost got in a fight. It was
You almost
awesome.
got in a fight. Here's your sunset right there.
It was. I mean, it so gorgeous. That's Onondaga Lake. It's called Lakeview Amphitheater.
Yeah.
And behind there, if you can see behind there, that's all lake.
Yeah.
From like miles.
Yeah.
Hence the term Lakeview.
Yes.
And they closed the harbor for quite a while, and they don't let boats in. But there were a couple of boats back there for quite a while who were getting a free show for.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. They do that. They do that different places like at the beach or whatever. If there's a big show, the boaters will come up and stuff like that, and they get a free show.
Right there. Everybody was. It was a ballad that he was doing, and everybody was using their cell phone light instead of lighters.
I see.
They were doing the wave back and forth with their cell phone lights, and it lit up the entire concert.
That's like cigarette lighter 2.0.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, 12-year-olds can finally do the,
That's funny. That's funny how
without
things.
burning your thumb.
Yeah. That's funny.
I think I still have a mark on my thumb from a couple of them.
I haven't been to a concert and I can't even tell you how long. Can't even tell you how long it's been.
It was an absolute phenomenal experience. I have to thank Jen and her daughter for, I mean, that was Megan's first concert.
Yeah.
And not only were we there, we had a 13-year-old with us. There was no foul language in the entire, not a single song.
Yeah.
Had a curse word in it.
Yeah.
Which is another reason I really like their music, because they can be intellectual and they can be thought-provoking without being vulgar.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
But there was this like old couple sitting next to us. And then there were like lesbians everywhere.
Really? It's funny.
I'm not kidding. It was like a serious alternative nation up in there.
Yeah.
And it was a little pot friendly.
You think?
This couple that was directly to the right of me, I went, oh, and I look over and she's like, and then he takes a big toke and then they put it out inside his beer can. I'm like, really?
I had a buddy when I worked in radio, and he cobbed together out of some stuff that he got at Lowe's, a one-hitter. And it was a little pipe that he made out of plumbing fittings. And what he would do is he would smoke pot in the control room. He worked overnight, so there was nobody else there. But the way that he did it was he puts a little bit in the pipe, and as he hits it, he took a quarter, a quarter, and capped it real quick so that no smoke would escape into the room. And then he would hold it in his lungs for till his seams started coming apart. And then he would exhale, and you didn't smell any of it. And I thought that was pretty interesting. But that was his little one hitter, and that was back. I could tell stories about that.
But if you put the energy into doing something productive,
well, I mean, to those guys, that's pretty productive. I guess the statute of limitations has probably run out on this, so I can probably talk about it because it's been, gosh, at least 20 years ago. So I don't think they can, because we didn't have intent to say. Anyway, so my ex, you remember Pat?
Yeah.
Yeah. She was she was interested in a lot of things.
Oh, no.
Like when we moved to Ocala, Florida, and we saw like the first gay people we'd ever seen in our lives. She was fascinated by that. And so she was going to the drag clubs and watching the Miss Gay Ocala pageants and all that stuff. And then when we moved to Fort Myers, and my buddy Doug, not the Dougie that we know now,
yeah,
but the guy that I work with, the guy that made his one hitter, he would actually, find places to grow his own.
Really?
And so he brought these seeds out to my house and gave them to her, and she planted them on the front porch in these planter boxes on the front porch.
No.
Yeah. And we're living in a neighborhood full of like old retired people.
Oh, no.
So she plants these seeds, and, they grow like weeds. I mean, they grow really quickly.
Hence the term.
Well, right. And so he comes over one day, and there's like, I don't know, they're probably 14 to 18 inches tall in the flower planter box in the front yard at the front porch. And he comes up, yanks a leaf, rolls it up in his finger, sticks it in his one hitter and hits on it, knocks on the door and says, "You should probably move your babies to somewhere else because you can see them from the road." She's growing pot and the planters up front.
Phil had a buddy who used to smoke in his bedroom.
Yeah.
And he would take the seeds out and he would throw them out the bedroom window.
Yeah.
Well, they're very fertile.
Yeah. Yeah.
And lo and behold,
there was
Christmas.
There was this dude who was my neighbor when I lived up in the mountains in Hendersonville. And he and his wife were burners. And their kid was, I don't know, 2 maybe? And would go around and dig the seeds out of the ashtrays and eat them. And they thought that was funny.
That's child abuse.
I know. Well, see, back in those days, it probably, people probably didn't care.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah.
So I almost got into a fight. Because I know you're itching to hear about
well,
this.
I am.
Oh, okay. So
I don't see any pictures of that over here.
No. I wish there were. Because this is priceless,
All
right?
I'm going to sit back and just listen to your. Yeah, go ahead.
It's not even me who's like normally the itchy one.
Yeah.
Jen comes off as like a super quiet individual.
Yeah.
But it's her that's got the hot temper. It's me that's the total chicken. Like fight or flight, it's total.
So you got feathers, is what you're telling me.
I fart feathers. I am total chicken, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So I prefer to talk my way out of stuff. So, but in this instance, we had to wait in line in the blazing sun for probably over an hour.
Yeah.
And this line is like in a zip, like a swirl going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah. And
we waited in line for an hour to get to this junction. And here come these SOBs off of the shuttle bus. They get off the bus, and they merge right in line with us who've just gotten into the top of the line after an hour and a half.
So the line jumpers.
So Jen goes, well, the line starts back there.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, have you guys been waiting long? And she's like, yeah, for like an hour.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I guess the bus. She goes, well, then I guess the bus was the way to go.
Guess the bus gets you an ass kicking.
And I honestly thought Jen was going to kill her.
Oh, it's funny.
And Jen let it go.
Hi, Mike Owens. Thanks for listening.
She had her daughter with her.
Yeah.
And I love that about her. She's all about her kids. She keeps it classy. Yeah. Love that girl. So let it go. We're going to go have fun at the concert.
Yeah.
Deep breath. Not going to take my hoops off. Please don't hold my shoes. I'll have a good time. Praise Jesus. So we move forward and we're trying to ditch this girl.
Yeah.
She's a mom and she's got like a 12-year-old boy with her.
Yeah.
And she's acting like a fool in front of him, right?
Yeah.
So we get like quarter mile up in the line, like heading towards the event center.
Yeah.
And she has the brass cojones to start talking smack about that conversation with another group with us standing right behind her. So she says to this other to this other lady, some guy comments about, well, did you guys have to wait long in line? And she says, oh no, I got right off the shuttle. Did you guys take the shuttle? And he says, oh yeah, the shuttle was the way to go. And she's like, oh, wait till you hear. So I said to this lady, oh no, the shuttle's the way to go. And you should have seen her face. It was like, and I looked over and I got right in her face and I went, it wasn't that funny. Really, it was.
Oh, look, you finished your nails. That's good.
And she then went.
Good times.
And I was waiting for it.
Yeah.
I was waiting for it. And then we kept walking and like she was, I think at that point nervous that she was about to get her butt kicked.
Yeah.
And I said, really? It's kind of rude when you talk shit about people. Oops, sorry. I said, you should probably make sure that they're not like right behind you, right, Megan? And Megan's like, no, Megan just wanted to go somewhere and hide at that point because I think she just didn't want to have to call her dad in Connecticut and tell him she needed bail money for mom.
The Podgram with Tom and Christie. Join the conversation. 855-PODGRAM.
Quarter after now on the Podgram. Mike Owens is hanging out with us over on Facebook Live, and you can too. You can also hear us on TuneIn or over on YouTube Live. So right now we're listening to Christie's story last night. She got to revert back to her teenage years and went to an Imagine Dragons concert last night where she almost got into a butt whooping session with some
very inconsiderate woman
who needed to have her ass kicked. Really, it sounded like
she did.
Yeah.
She needed to learn some respect because I mean, one, she knew she was line cutting. She totally knew she was line cutting.
Yeah.
She has a son, and then she's, rejoicing and picking on us.
Yeah.
And then she's regaling in it.
Yeah.
Our humiliation.
Okay, so
in front of her son.
Now, did she cut in line in front of you or behind you, or what was the deal with that?
Front.
Oh, see, I wouldn't let that fly. No, sorry, get out.
But then I wound up muscling in front of her.
Yeah.
And then we were carrying bag chairs, and mine didn't have a strap, so I could carry it on my strap.
Yeah.
So I'm carrying it, like this, like a bouquet of flowers, and I actually wound up going bonk and like almost bashing her in the face with it.
Yeah.
Oopsie, I'm so careless.
Yeah, she'd have had to get beaten down if she tried to cut in front. Yeah, sorry, no cut.
And we did wind up way in front of her because, I have line cutting skills.
Yeah, Gina Jeffrey, hello, in the Facebook Live.
Gina!
Woohoo!
That's my Gina.
I don't, listen, this is the first time that we're doing Facebook and YouTube at the same time. So the last time we did this, the audio was all effed up, and so it might be like that now. I don't know.
So at the Imagine Dragons concert, the thing I think that I have the most respect for is he stopped 2/3 of the way through and he said, there's something I want to talk about. There is a stigma in this country, and that stigma is mental health. There is nothing wrong with having a problem. There's nothing wrong with going to a therapist. There's nothing wrong with being depressed. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. Talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it. Don't do something that has a permanent ending.
Yeah.
And he said, he's 30, the lead singer, Dan Reynolds. He said, I was diagnosed with depression a couple of years ago, and don't ever think that it can stop you from fulfilling your dreams. Don't ever let it think that it can hold you back, because I'm living proof that it can, that it doesn't, and it won't. And if, just talk about it, talk about it. And then he had more poetic, beautiful words than I did. And it hit me. It hit me really hard because I struggle with depression. And I've struggled for a lifetime with depression, and I know lots of people who have. And, over a couple of days ago, Anthony Bourdain, are you familiar with him?
Yes, I'm joking.
No, you're fine. I'll keep talking. You're good. Anthony Bourdain is, God, he was in Paris over the weekend, and he committed suicide. He was a celebrity chef. He was 61 years old. He was a renegade chef who had a show on CNN called Parts Unknown, where he would go and meet the people and try the food, and he would introduce people to new cultures and new things and new places and parts of the world. He'd been in over 100 countries. 100 countries.
Yeah.
He had literally everything, but yet took his own life.
Wow.
And that was, I think, Friday. And then Tuesday, Kate Spade, which you may not know, but she's a handbag and shoe, purse, and like household stuff. She's Martha Stewart without the baked goods.
Oh, I see.
In the prison. Yeah. So she's David Spade.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
His sister.
Yeah. Okay.
She killed herself Tuesday. And a lot of people are calling him out and saying, 2 celebrities kill themselves in 1 week and the world stops. Yet 21 veterans kill themselves in 1 week and nobody notices. The suicide rate across the country is up astronomically. And it's something that we need to talk about as a country, as a society, the stigma on mental health. It's not something to be toyed with. It's not something to be taken lightly.
Yeah. Amber Genevieve has joined us. Do you know Amber?
Yay, yes, she's my nurse buddy.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
I love her. She commented yesterday on one of our stories.
Oh.
After the show, she commented about summer school.
Yeah.
So,
which and I don't know if I told you, and if I did, and I'll tell you again because I do that because I have ADHD and I think I have early onset Alzheimer's. I seem to be forgetting, all kinds of stuff. But anyway, Emily escaped. My teenager escaped summer school by pulling it off in the EOGs.
Yes.
So surprise. Yeah.
But I honestly think that the more we talk about it, the more we make it less of a stigma for mental health.
Yeah. Well, see, and here's the thing. My father-in-law doesn't believe in stuff like that. And it's bad. I mean, like, I just said ADHD a minute ago, but he doesn't believe that ADHD is a thing, even though his long-term partner, she was a teacher that worked with ADHD kids. That was her career. Yeah. And he thought it was all, hogwash and snake oil. You have to understand that, if somebody is crippled or they're blind or they're missing a limb, you can see that outwardly.
Yeah. But
people tend to dismiss the disabilities and the problems that people have on the inside that you can't see. It's almost like we were talking earlier about the fibromyalgia commercial that they.
I have fibro, and my own father, who's a doctor, did not believe me.
Yeah, so it's like that commercial. It opens up, and the lady says, "To most people, I look like most people." And so when you see somebody who looks like most people, you just assume, well, there's nothing wrong with that person. It's almost like I have gout, and that's it's nasty. It's a really bad form of arthritis, and when it sets on, I would cut my leg off if somebody would have brought me a butter knife. I'd have done it myself. Mm-hmm. That's how bad it is. Anyway, so I was in a wheelchair for 2 years, and when I would go to Walmart, it was a chore for me to get from my car into the Walmart to get on what Melanie calls the wheelie dealie, and I would ride the wheelie dealie, right? And I had a handicap placard on my thing. And somebody one time said to me, they didn't say it to me, they said it where they knew I would hear it. Being fat is not a good enough reason to have a handicap thing. Being fat is not a good enough reason to ride that thing in Walmart. And I got to tell you, though, if we're going to be honest with each other here, I've never said it out loud, but I've seen people and had the same thought. Like there was a lady on the wheelie dealie at Walmart, and you couldn't even really see the wheelie dealie because she was so big. She looked like the McQuarrie twins on the little motorbikes, the Guinness Book of Records. Yeah. I'm not trying to be judgy here, but I saw her, and I thought, you know what? Her boobs were resting on her knees, and I thought, you know what? If she would lose that, she wouldn't need the wheelie dealie. And you know what? There may be truth to that, but who am I to judge that lady? I don't know what her deal is.
There's usually a reason that they get that way. And, I watch my 600-pound life all the time. I'm a dedicated watcher. I don't think I've missed an episode. And when you see it, there's usually a mental health-based reason. There's usually some form of abuse or some form of trauma in their life that causes them to get to that point.
Yeah.
And if there wasn't such a stigma on mental health, there wasn't such an issue where people had reason to believe that seeking out treatment and seeking out therapy was the equivalent of weakness. That it was the equivalent of, like Dr. Phil says all the time, why do we always think that I'm your last hope?
Yeah.
Why am I the last hope? Why am I not your first stop?
Yeah.
When stuff starts breaking down, why don't you come here first?
Yeah.
Why don't you stop it before the train goes completely off the rails?
Yeah. Well, but the thing is, and I watched the 600-pound life too. Because look, I've always been large. I've always been 2XLT. I've always been actually probably 4XLT. I'm tall, but when I got into the accident last year in the truck, I weighed 354 pounds.
Casual male, big and tall.
Yeah. So I'm a big guy, and so thank you.
Hi, Mel.
Christie says hi, Mel. All right. So I'm a big guy, and I've always been the fat guy. It just is what it is, right? But I watch that, and I think, how do they get to that point? Yeah. How do you just one day wake up and you weigh 600 pounds? Now,
well, you've also got to have a darn good team of enablers.
Well, yeah, because the pizza guy, somebody's got to get it from the door to you into bed. So there's that. Now, and I understand that these people are probably very loud and persistent.
Oh, they're very good at manipulating.
Yes.
Very good at manipulating. I mean, they're like the Donald Trump of manipulators. They could get it done. If they could take those skills and translate them to like the business world, or
they'd be rich instead of fat. But
they'd have skills, you know.
But what's interesting about, and I'm going to say, well, at some point you have to look at yourself and say, wow, how did I get to this point? But let me tell you something. As a person who weighed 354 pounds, which is just very large.
But you're also 6'4".
Yeah, but 354 pounds is extremely excessive.
I was 337 and 5 foot.
Yes.
4.
So I'm wearing size. I was at one point in my life. I was in size 48 pants. That's pretty big.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, though. I never noticed in my journey to that size. It never occurred to me that I was getting larger and buying larger clothes. So I can't really be judgy about somebody who gets to 600 and never realized they were getting there. But I would think still, at some point when you cross 400, 450, 470, at some point.
When you need someone to help you bathe.
Dave Solomon's hanging out with us over on Facebook. Good to have you with us. At some point when you can't get out of bed anymore, I would think that would be like, wow, I should probably do something about this.
Yeah.
So I watch that, and there's always a backstory. There's always a reason. There's always, some kind of trauma or something that happened earlier in life. That doctor, he's a little bastard. I mean, he's like, oh, you do.
I love him.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you get to that point, I mean, and what you don't see is that there's a lot of his program that they don't show because he does have proprietary rights to that program. He does have classes where he teaches them, you need to get back to the program. And the program is you have to figure out why you compulsively eat. You need to figure out, either through therapy or through this, he requires a lot of them after surgery to go see a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them do and some of them don't.
Yeah.
And the ones that do usually wind up being the long-term successes.
Mm-hmm.
So, but this Anthony Bourdain thing, like that hit Phil really hard.
Was he a watcher? Did he watch him?
I mean, and there was a post on, we were watching, I think it was Fox News or CNN, one or the other. And somebody tweeted about it and they said, I get 1 hour a day that's an escape from my regular life where I'm not somebody's dad, I'm not somebody's, employee, where you get to take me away from my ordinary life and show me the extraordinary.
Yeah.
And it makes me sad that you felt like this was the only alternative and that you felt you had no other hope.
Yeah. It's half past on the podcast.
The Podgram with Tom and Christie.
They're still at it.
I'm walking two people talk about nothing.
Join the conversation. 855-PODGRAM.
Phone lines are open. Love to hear from you this morning here on the Podgram. 855-PODGRAM. It's a toll-free call. And, of course, on your cell phone, it doesn't make any difference, does it? Just easy to remember, though. 855-PODGRAM. And again, this morning, we're just being loose cannons and just chatting about whatever comes to mind. Christie was telling us earlier about almost getting into a fight over at the Imagine Dragons concert last night. You know what? I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't been to a concert since I was Probably.
I mean, I was kind of proud because I was like,
Yeah, you were
you want
all.
to go? You want to go? You want to go? Eh?
It's funny.
And then I was like, oh God, please don't. Oh, poor Finnegan. He's laying on the floor here, all cute, right?
Yeah.
And I said, you want to go? You want to go? You want to go? And he thought I meant
in the car.
Do you want? Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor baby.
Yeah.
So, do you want to brighten things up a little?
Let's brighten. Yeah, let's get away from the drowsy, droopy. Bleh.
So, you want to talk about my favorite individual in the entire world? No sarcastic font inflected. Kim Kardashian.
Oh, sure. Why not?
Oh, God.
Melanie says to me the other day, why are they famous? Who are, what is their deal?
She's famous for being, well, no. She's famous for having a sex tape.
Kind of like Clinton.
With Brandy.
Yeah.
The singer's brother, Ray J.
Yeah. Anyway, so
that's her thing.
Yeah.
That's how she came to be.
Yeah.
And then, well, of course, she's the daughter of, I forget what his first name is, but he was one of the OJ lawyers.
Yeah, it makes no difference.
Kardashian was one of the OJ lawyers.
Yeah, it makes a difference. Anyway, so you have
he's a little famous. And then, of course, keeping up with the Kardashians. But Kim is married to Kanye West, of course, who is, I can't believe I even uttered his name. I've tried so hard not to utter his name because even saying the words, he has started taking up with President Trump because Trump thinks that he makes him more likable with African Americans.
Uh-huh.
He's helping him be more relatable to the brotherhood. Okay. Well, Kim Kardashian decided to have audience with the president and speak on behalf of Alice Marie Johnson. And after a high-profile campaign for clemency, President Trump has commuted her life sentence after Kim Kardashian decided to recommend it. What? Now Kim Kardashian is recommending things to him? I like Trump. Don't get me wrong. I'm Republican down the line. I'm a gun-toting, NRA-loving Republican down the line. I bleed red.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But Kim Kardashian and her husband, kind of where I'm drawing the wackadoo line. This is not copacetic here, people.
Yeah.
This is a little on the, crackers. No. So I'll read and then you decide. I mean, I understand she kind of deserves clemency a little, but this is very, you let me know.
Yeah. You read, I'll sit back and listen.
Alice Marie Johnson, 63, was serving a life sentence without possibility of parole after being convicted of a first-time nonviolent drug offense. Just hours after her life sentence was commuted, Johnson was released from federal prison and reunited with her family. Johnson was put on the president's radar after a meeting in the Oval Office last week with Kardashian, who was originally slated to meet with Trump's son-in-law and senior advisor Jared Kushner to discuss prison reform. She said, "I feel like my life is starting over today. This is a miracle. Justice has been served today. It's long overdue. Alice has more than paid her debt to society after serving 21 years of a life sentence without possibility of parole for a nonviolent drug offense. Life in prison without possibility of parole screams that prison is beyond hope, beyond redemption. And in Alice's case, it is a punishment absolutely that did not fit the crime. President Trump saved Alice's life today." Johnson's attorney made a statement. I guess what happened is Johnson was convicted in 1996 on 8 criminal counts related to a Memphis-based cocaine traffic operation. Her involvement with cocaine dealers reportedly came about after she lost her job, her son was killed, and she got divorced, and her home was foreclosed on. I mean, that's kind of the quadrifecta, not the trifecta, because it's 4 of them. Yeah. But I mean, if you've got to have a craptastic kind of situation, that'd be it.
Yeah.
She really had nothing to lose.
Yeah.
But, that still doesn't say to me, oh, yeah, it's okay to just go sell drugs.
Yeah.
By all means, let's just take up. I mean, she apparently, I don't know if she had more children other than that. But now last week, Trump pardoned conservative filmmaker Dinesh D'Souza. He also floated potentially commuting the sentence of former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich and pardoning Martha Stewart. He's toying with them. The idea,
Let's see. I'm over here. Sorry, I'm trying to put my phone on silent because 2 people have called and I've gotten text messages and, yeah.
I mean, okay, people.
You know what? What's great about you? You get on a roll. You start talking about something. It doesn't matter what I say. You just keep running. Just keep running going.
I'm beyond words with this.
Yeah.
I mean, one, it's Kim Kardashian, and she's trying to influence politics. One, she can't. Okay, we go from a woman who is in a magazine where she has a champagne bottle popping its cork and liquid flowing into a cup balanced on her latex-clad naked ass.
That's
classy. There's more nakedness of her on open media, and we're supposed to take her seriously.
Well, see, and there's more and more of that going on with, like the Roseanne thing. And here's the, I don't think, I was talking to a buddy of mine yesterday, and I don't think the Roseanne thing got canceled because of what she said. I think it got canceled because she was they're a lower middle class family, the TV show, lower middle class family, conservative. Look what happened with Tim Allen and Last Man Standing.
But he didn't get canceled for that.
No, he did. No, not for that. Super high ratings, but they pulled the plug because he had very conservative views on the TV show.
Oh.
Super high ratings, and they yanked it. Well, they're putting it back on now because the audience spoke. But we're in a time now where actors, actresses, musicians, people who are supposed to be entertaining us, are trying to take a serious position in politics. They're trying to make political statements. They're trying to influence. Listen, just entertain me. Get on my Roku where you belong.
I get them wanting to be relevant and wanting to, endorse and influence, but take a cue from the 80s.
Yeah.
Don't get involved unless there's been like world hunger or AMFAR.
Yeah. Bono, shut up and play the song.
Look how far that's gotten you.
I know,
You're
right?
pretty much broke, dude.
Yeah. Play the song. Shut up and play the song. It's like I had a program director. Actually, one of the people just tried to call me in the middle of my show. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Anyway, he was very, you know him. New York.
Love my Syracusey buddy.
Anyway, so he was very, I don't know if eccentric's the word, but he had in his mind an idea of how everything should be flowing on the air on the radio station, right? And anytime anything deviated from that, even in the slightest, he would come running in with that vein on his forehead going throb, 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 throb. And he would start shouting and throwing things. And anyway, so one time, I guess one of the guys was doing a talk break a little longer than he thought it should have gone on. And from the other room, with the microphone on, live on the air, shut up and start the effing record. So that's how I feel about these entertainers gone political commentarians. Is that even a word? That's
commentators.
That's not your job. Your job is to play the guitar. Your job is to act on a TV show. Your job is to entertain me. Get on Netflix. Get on Hulu. I don't take. But the thing is, now with all the millennial stuff, and then you got these millennial actors and actresses in all these millennial shows. By the way, you ever watch the Disney Channel?
Yes.
I had to ban the Disney Channel and the Disney app at my house because when you watch the programs that these kids, these 9, 10, 11, early preteen, teenage kids are watching, it portrays the children to be geniuses and the parents to be morons.
Yes.
Yeah. And the kids are sarcastic with their parents. The kids run their mouth to their parents. And so what happens is now your kids see this on TV and think that's how they're supposed to talk to you. They think you're an idiot and they think you're to be talked to that way. And my kids have almost earned an ass whooping because of the Disney Channel. And it has lasting effect problems. But now here's the problem.
Now, the Disney Channel has a show called Andy Mack, where one of the characters has a boy who finds himself in love with one of the main character's love interests. It's a same-sex love interest.
Oh, God. You know what? Let me sidestep you for just a second here because I'm tired of that crap, too. Why can't? Look, I get.
And then I had to explain it to my daughter. And
yes.
She's 10.
Listen, I get freedom of choice. I get live and let live. But why? Why does it have to be? There is an organization. Who does that? Was I talking? No, I think I was talking to my buddy last. There's an organization that monitors TV shows, movie studios, and all this stuff. Even animated movies, right? What was the animated movie where there was a homosexual, superhero, whatever, or something? Anyway, this organization was upset because they didn't make it blatant enough for everyone who watched it to catch on to what it was, to the relationship. But let me step back for a second and say that my wife and I, we don't advertise what we do. We don't advertise that we're heterosexual. We don't put stickers on our car about it. We don't have parades about it. We don't. And you laugh. But the thing is, we don't take our relationship and grade it into the faces of everyone around us in Walmart because we have the right to be respected as heterosexual people. We don't do that. There's no organization to make sure that heterosexual relationships are portrayed correctly on television or in the movies. Why do we have to have any kind of an organization like that? And not only that.
Well, doesn't the FCC do that?
No. No, the FCC.
With the rating system?
No, the FCC doesn't do the ratings. That's Nielsen. But no, they don't do that. No. But here's my problem with it. You ever watch some of the Westerns? Okay, so the old Westerns, like on MeTV or whatever, that's fine. Now set those aside for a second. And then some of the newer stuff that portrays the Old West that has been done in the last 30 years, well, there's black people as actors in those movies where they would never have actually been there in the real world because, the equality thing and whatever. And it's taking TV programs and movies and making them not authentic.
Yeah.
Every single TV show. What was I watching last night? Chicago Med. Have you watched that? If you're in any med shows, that's a good one. It's part of the Dick Wolf thing on NBC. It's got Chicago Fire, Chicago Med, Chicago PD, and I think there's Chicago Attorneys now or something. I don't know. But anyway, last night, one of the doctors went into, not last night. I'm watching the older ones, but doctor goes in.
Before we get too far gone, it is 1:45.
Oh, yes, it is.
The Podgram with Tom and Christie.
They're still at it. I'm walking two people talk about nothing.
Join the conversation. 855-PODGRAM.
It's 14 in front of the hour right now on the Podgram. Thanks so much for hanging out and being part of it with us. I'd like to invite you to join us on the phone. 855-PODGRAM. We're also on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. And, of course, we're streaming live on TuneIn. But we're all over the damn place, aren't we?
Wow.
You'd think we'd have more than 2 people listening. Anyway, so maybe it's a side.
Hey, we've doubled our listeners.
I know from yesterday. Yeah. All right. So here's my soapbox. Here's my rant about this. So I'm watching Chicago Med, and the doctor goes into this. I don't know, some kind of like a banquet, and one of the employees of the hospital introduces to his husband. Why do we have to keep putting this stuff in there? Because we do have children. It's almost like, you remember Mr. Secor from the assistant principal from my kid's old school that walked around with earrings? Yeah. There's a time and a place where things are appropriate. It used to be you would never see the Trojan man during the day between, Trojan man. But now, the Trojan man can show up at any time.
Yes. And, my daughter even said, why are those commercials on? It's not 9 o'clock.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And it used to be that broadcasters paid attention to stuff like that.
Yeah.
And is Jennifer Brewer here? Anyway,
yes.
It used to be that people paid attention to that stuff. Like you would never hear 2 car dealers back to back. And you would never.
Yeah.
But now, all right, I'm getting a little off the beaten path. I am all for equality for everyone.
Yeah.
But that's it. I'm not for special rights for this group or this group or this group. I'm not for an organization that monitors to make sure that having a homosexual relationship on a TV show isn't good enough if you haven't made it blatant enough and put it out in the forefront ahead of the storyline. I'm not for that. If the natural progression of the relationship shows up on TV, all right, it is what it is. But and it's almost like seeing black people in westerns. They weren't there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Now I'm going to get racist email and hate mail because I don't think that and listen, sexuality is something that has long been somewhat taboo on TV anyways.
Well, I mean, there was okay, if you go way back, I mean, I Dream of Jeannie, her costume was so controversial because it had to go up just so far because her belly button was not permitted to be visible.
Right.
Her belly button.
Once upon a time, like in the soap operas when they were doing a love scene, the actress had to have a strap showing, and the male actor had to have one of his feet on the floor.
In the Brady Bunch, they could not sleep in the same bed together for like the first, 2 years?
Yeah.
They had to have separate twin beds.
Even though that's normal in society.
Even though they were a married couple.
But now it's like all that's out the window. You see guys kissing guys, and you see, and it's interesting. It's interesting because every TV show that I watch, newer TV show that I watch, there has to be episodes dedicated to that topic, and I don't understand.
I'm a Days of Our Lives fan.
Yeah.
I watch it. I watch it every day. I DVR it.
Yeah.
And if I don't get to watch it, I watch it later, and I'll speed through it. And sometimes I'm glad I get to DVR it because they've got this storyline now where there's a gay storyline.
Hey, Fred. Sorry, go ahead.
And I'm kind of over it because I don't want to watch two dudes making out. And they really don't have much. It's like every other scene, they're in bed together.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
I really don't want to watch the main characters in bed together.
Yeah.
Because there's more than that going on with the main characters, but yet all this seems to be with this subline with Sonny and Paul and what's his name?
Yeah.
That's all they do is they're in bed together. So,
I would like to watch a newer TV show on Hulu or something like that and not have to worry about my kids watching it with me.
The Crown.
And have to you and your Crown. I love you, right? I mean, it's I just you're explaining that show to me. I'm like, okay, tell her you're going to watch it. Just say okay. Just say okay. Yeah. Okay.
I will convert you.
But now the problem with that plan now is that I know at some point there's going to be discussion and I'm not going to have the information, having not actually watched it.
You will if I have to drive my butt down there. I got Jen in. I sucked Jen in.
Jen's in the Facebook live chat now, as is Frederick Hayes Ray. Hey, buddy. Hope you're doing well. I haven't talked to you in a while. Hope you're doing well.
He said hello in the chat room while you were in your ill state.
Well, I got a problem. I got a problem when everybody in the country has to have a special holiday just for themselves.
Yeah.
And that's really kind of what this comes down to. Listen, again, I'm all for all people being equal under the laws, in the eyes of God, equal. That doesn't mean that everybody gets a holiday. You know what? I'm sorry. It doesn't.
I know. I don't want to have to explain to my daughter.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, because the way that our current situation is, I usually am in my room watching TV and she uses the computer in my room so that I can kind of monitor what's going on the computer.
Sure.
Which is always good.
Yeah.
Helicopter mom till I die.
I love it.
Hover, baby, hover.
Mm-hmm.
And two, because I mean, there's 8 feet from me to her. So usually it's, hey, mom, how do you spell, or, well, what do you think about this? Or, hey, does this look pretty? And then I don't have to get up or go far to answer those questions.
Right.
But in the downside is that from where she sits, the TV, if you turn your head this way, is right there.
Yeah.
So if I'm watching Days of Our Lives, which is on at 1:00 in the afternoon,
yeah,
I don't want to have to explain to her why there are two dudes in bed together.
Right. And I don't think it really, I really don't think.
I'm not saying that Days needs to pull the segment. I'm not saying that they need to rewrite the storyline. I'm saying maybe they just need to dial back the nakedness a little.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's the other thing is, like, I've been watching Breaking Bad again because I love Breaking Bad. This is awesome. I love Breaking Bad. Anyway, there are a couple of sex scenes between Walt and his wife that are too much for my kids to see. And now this aired on cable before it was ever on. Now,
yeah,
and I wonder. It was on
A&E.
Yeah. I wonder if they went back and made any changes to the episodes, because there's some language in there that I can't imagine being on TV. They'll drop the F-bomb every so often. And now, while the FCC doesn't as closely regulate cable TV as it does over-the-air TV, they can do that. But I think most of them refrain for the same reason that we kind of refrain from it here, just because it seems like it's the right thing to do. You know, we try to refrain from, we try to keep it what I call is broadcast legal, over-the-air legal.
Yeah.
Just because there's so many other people out there that are doing this that it's awful language just because they can.
Well, and my kids like to listen to the show.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have to say, oh, don't listen to that episode. No.
Well, and the other thing is when it's on iTunes, if we have language, I got to disclose that before, I've got to put it in there so that it won't, so it'll show on iTunes as being explicit.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that. I want to keep it maybe not necessarily G-rated, but I think, PG-19.
Well, I want to have things that I'm proud of.
Yeah.
And the way I always thought of it was, would I be embarrassed if my dad heard it? Would I be embarrassed if my mom heard it? Would I be, that's my.
That's a pretty good philosophy.
Test.
Yeah. And the other thing is, if you have to swear to be interesting, you're not interesting.
You're not interesting.
If you have to have sex out in the forefront to be interesting, you're not interesting. And so I'm not, I see these things, and every show that comes up, I'm sitting there, I'm watching it, Melanie's in there, and sure enough, two guys start going at it. And I'm like, I don't want to see this.
I told my son, who's recently discovered the joys, the adolescent joys of cuss words.
Hold on, let me hang on. Let me clarify something. I don't want to see a guy and a girl going at it either. I'm not being particular about same sex. I don't want to see any of it.
Yeah.
In Walmart, on TV, anywhere. It's because
anywhere.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
But my son has recently discovered the adolescent joys of curse words.
Yes.
And I said, like you said, cussing is for the nimble-minded, the people who are less able to find better words to use. And I said, the joy of having a vocabulary is telling people where to go and then explaining it to them so that they look forward to the ride.
Yes.
That, sir, is the joy of a vocabulary.
Yes. But, it's, I don't know. It's everywhere. They're saying
fun, though. It really is. If you've got a decent vocabulary, you can absolutely match wits with people, because I have talked myself out of many a situation.
Yeah. You know what else I can't stand that's happening in TV right now? Product placement.
Oh, yeah.
This is advertising that subliminally goes on in the TV program. And let me give you an example. Chicago Med, there was a teenage girl that was living on the streets, and the doctors were going to come out and help her because they're humanitarians or whatever. And they come out in a GMC Acadia. And when they were getting when they're getting out of the now on the ride over, you got the perspective view of a backseat passenger, and it was showing the dashboard with a touchscreen stereo with a Pandora and all the features and stuff, and it was showing the interior. And then when they pulled up to this area where all the homeless kids were living, they showed every angle of this damn thing while the doctors were getting out of it. And it looked, if you had the sound down on the TV, it looked like a GMC commercial.
Yep.
It was blatant what they were doing. And now they start blurring out the brand names of vehicles. When a cop car, a Crown Vic comes up, they blur out the Ford logo. Like you don't know what it is.
Yeah, I saw a car that I knew the brand of, and I went, ooh, guess they're not a sponsor.
Guess they're not paying any money to have their logo on there. But even my kid, Steve, this is the greatest thing. Steve, we ride down the road, and he'll say, oh, Daddy, look, it's Ram truck. Oh, Daddy, look, it's Ford truck. He doesn't have to see the logo anymore. He knows by the shape of the vehicle so a 3-year-old knows what it is.
Yeah.
Why put the time and effort and resources into blurring the thing out when everybody knows, and then all of a sudden here comes this big GMC Acadia that you can't get on camera enough.
Yeah.
In an episode of Dr. House, they did the same thing with a Ford Explorer, and the doctors were riding, this is my new Ford Explorer, and it's got this and it's got that. It's like, what? Yeah, it drives me crazy, too. Product placement.
And I think a lot that started. Do you remember the X-Files movie?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
When it was brought to you by.
Yeah.
The old and intrigued.
Yeah, how about that? Well, Well, look, I had my doubts about whether we were going to make it today.
I didn't.
But we did. And so that's it. That's our show for today. Join us on TuneIn, and we'll see you later on. Have a great day, everybody.
The Podgram, copyright 2018, Big Tower Media. So don't be stealing our stuff.